Hey friends, all right, it's time for us to get started with our Thursday Bible study. All the information is coming out in email in just a little bit. And the book we're doing, will this be backwards because I'm new to the YouTube thing, is by our friend Jackson Shelton. So this is Sessions with Peter. You'll remember a couple summers back, I did Philippians. So this is Peter, written by the Reverend Sarah Jackson Shelton from Birmingham. Our friend and my mentor and sister in ministry and all of those things. So in the email, I have sent you information about how you can get the ebook immediately for $9, or if you want to order from Smith Helwes, we know that there's going to be a delay, but if you order it today, $12, then you can have a paper copy, I bet, within a week. So I'm going to read the introduction to you. It's pretty short. And then I have inserted all of the exercises that come at the end of each section. The ones for this week are in the email, and you can begin working on that. I think the questions and exercises really fit with this time of shutdown that we're in. So let's begin. Introducing Peter, tangible encouragement. At one time in my family's history, all of us were scattered. One sister lived in Alabama, one sister lived in South Carolina, our brother lived in Colorado, and I lived in Kentucky attending seminary. Our mother would write to us faithfully. Her letters were full of family news, menus that she prepared to serve guests or take to shut-ins, and general information about her activities with Dad. These letters came as often as 3 times a week. They began with "Dear ones" and ended with "Love and kisses, Mother." They were single-spaced and took up an entire page. Mother typed them using carbon copy and rotated the original between us. She sometimes included words of wisdom, but mostly her letters reminded us that we were never far from her thoughts and prayers. When we received her letters, we knew we were holding tangible encouragement. When the believers received Peter's letters, I think they received tangible encouragement as well. 1st and 2nd Peter comprise 2 of the 7 general letters found in the New Testament. This means these letters were read in the congregation and then passed to another community of faith within the same geographical region. Because the letters rotated, they are not addressed to one particular church, but to the larger Christian community. The addressees are referred to as exiles of the diaspora in Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, and Bithynia. In the Old Testament, any exile was considered a continuation of Israel's separation from their true home. It usually meant Jews were forced to live as slaves among Gentiles in foreign lands where they were tempted to adopt new cultural mores and religious practices. They experienced civil strife and persecution from friends, associates, and family. When local authorities were not harassing the Jews, others who longed for these believers to return to their former habits often taunted them. This alien status is best described in the Testament of Asher 7:2. You will be scattered to the 4 corners of the earth. In the dispersion you shall be regarded as worthless, like useless water, until such time as the Most High visits the earth. Through the years, the idea of exile has evolved so that contemporary interpreters view those exiled to mean Christians separated from Christ because we live in this world. We too know the temptation of returning to our lives before we knew Christ and of losing hope for redemption in the face of persecution because of our beliefs. The purpose of 1st and 2nd Peter remains true even today. Rather than a social justice or political appeal, Peter's purpose is a theological one. With a vision set forth of the transformation that occurs within us because of our conversion, Peter constantly reminds us to respond to harassment with holiness and rebirth and sanctification. The ultimate hope is that how we respond to our persecutors will bring about salvation in those who taunt us. Just like the example of Jesus, our call is to be found faithful to God's grace in spite of persecution, temptation, alienation, or social oppression. As it was to its original audience, Peter's encouragement for us to stay true to our Christian beliefs is a welcome drink of cold water in a spiritual desert. The authorship of 1st and 2nd Peter is greatly debated. While tradition dictates that Peter wrote the first letter around AD 64, few scholars would support this as fact for 2nd Peter. The dramatic literary differences and the strong dependence on Jude as a source for the second letter cause most to believe 2 Peter was written much later and by one who viewed himself as among the last of the apostolic witnesses. The major issue in the second letter deals with Gnostic false teachings regarding the second coming of Christ, which likely dates the letter to about AD 140 to 150. Regardless of the authorship issue, 2 Peter was written in an effort to recall the spirit of Peter's teachings and to provide some stability during a time of turmoil caused by false teaching. When our mother died, Sarah writes, one of my jobs was to clean out her desk. As I went through drawers and organized paper clips, you can imagine my delight in finding 3 years' worth of letters of which she had saved copies. These letters were duplicated and given to all of my siblings. As I handled those pages of onion skin, I came across another letter she had saved. I recognized my own handwriting and upon seeing the date, remembered that I had written this letter during my seminary days. It was written to thank my parents for all of the educational opportunities and experiences they had afforded me. Mother had saved it all those years for her own tangible encouragement. As we make this journey through 1st and 2nd Peter, may his words reach across the centuries to bring tangible encouragement to us. I hope that you can hear just in that introduction part of why I think this might be a good study for us in these weeks of being separated. I'm thinking less about persecution and being taunted and more about this challenge of we're doing virtual church. And what does it mean to be followers of Christ when we don't have a building and we aren't gathering as a community and we don't see each other? What does it mean to be when we're sort of exiled and separated from this stuff of faith? How do we live it out? How do we embody this way in our own private corners of the city and world? Think on this and then go to the letter for today, the email that I sent out, and you'll find some questions. And as we're reading letters and talking about letters, Sarah is going to ask you to start writing some too. And what a wonderful opportunity right now to begin thinking about writing letters to each other and offering tangible encouragement in this time. Grace and peace, friends. I look forward to seeing you all on Sunday. Bye-bye.